Hey guys, today we have Ankit and he is having total 6 year of experience in Java, Spring Boot and microservices. And guys, those who want to give same free mock interview, please fill out the form below in the description. So now let's get started. Hey, hello Ankit, how are you?
Yeah, hi Fazan. I'm fine. All good.
Okay, so are you excited or nervous for this interview?
No, I'm very much excited.
Very much
I'm very much
excited.
excited.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice, 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 nice.
yeah,
Okay, and guys, please watch this video till the end because I'm gonna ask very interesting question. So, Ankit, can you please introduce yourself and your recent project in brief?
yeah, sure. So my name is Ankit. I have overall 6 years of experience, out of which I've mostly worked in Java, Spring Boot, and microservices. So I work mostly in Java 17, 8, and this 21 version. And apart from that, in the Spring Boot side, I've also worked on some 3.1 version and 3.3.
Okay, so Ankit, since you said you have worked on Java 8, Java 17
Yeah,
in your projects and maybe more latest versions, right?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so have you migrated from Java 8 to the latest versions? Or if yes, what challenges you were facing at that time?
Yeah. So I worked mostly on Java 17,
Okay.
mostly Java 17, which was I didn't do a migration and all. But
Okay.
yeah,
So
some of those things which
what are the new Java 17 features that you use day to day in your task that is not there in the lower versions?
you can say records and all records. Then you if you say
Records.
switch case, in the switch case, when you say earlier we were using in the switch case,
Uh-huh.
there were some operations which we arrow operator and all those things which were
Okay.
introduced in the later version of the Java.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So, Ankit, how does Spring auto configuration mechanism work and how can it be overridden?
So yeah, Spring auto configuration works in such way because when you start your Spring Boot application, while you say at the rate Spring Boot application, so auto configuration works is they will configure your which will be like base configuration package. So what wherever your package currently exists, which is your base package currently where it is exist, it will try to fetch, it will try to scan that package, and in that package it will try to see what are all annotation it has been provided. Like if it is suppose a service class or a controller class, so all for all those things, the beans are being created. So this is how auto configuration one.
Okay.
You don't need to further this
And
one,
what
and
if
you can
we
also
need overridden?
okay. Overridden is there is something called include and exclude. There is
Okay.
something called include and exclude also there. So if
Mm-hmm.
suppose we don't want to include that one and we want to exclude that one, so we
Mm-hmm.
would exclude the earlier one and we can include the what we want to use currently.
Got it.
So
Got it.
all these things can be.
Correct. Correct. Okay, so Ankit, let's say if you were to scale an application for high traffic, what Spring Boot
Yeah.
features would you use?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So Spring Boot features which I will generally use is suppose when it comes about high traffic application, suppose because I've done some designing also there. So mostly if you say about
Like
so
I'm more interested to know about the Spring Boot core features that we could use.
okay,
For
yeah, yeah,
example, we could use in Spring Boot async annotations, right?
ha
We
ha,
could use
okay, okay,
caching, Spring Boot caching.
ha ha, yeah, yeah. So yeah, if we use async annotation, so async annotation is generally used for
Mhm,
saying that uh, you have a multiple threads because async
mhm,
is generally used for having suppose there is a transaction happening, and if you have an async annotation it just means that the first operation will be done in
mhm.
one thread, other
Okay,
will
just
be
give
on
me
another
the
thread.
features names only. I mean, I'm not
Okay,
expecting to explain in detail, but
okay,
yes, just give an overview, like what features we could use.
yeah, you can use caching. Then you can
Mhm.
use aspect oriented programming, AOP also. Then I
Mhm.
think we have something called resilience 4J, and
Okay.
even we have something called in the Kafka, Spring Boot Kafka also they have given those feature to
Mhm.
implement your Spring Boot Kafka. And I think now they have even this one API gateway also, Nginx and all those things they are
Mhm.
I think provided by the Spring. I think third party libraries, those things are being provided by this.
Okay, got it. Hey guys, I want to share something important with you. Actually, Ankit prepared from our interview preparation kit and cracked multiple interviews. We have also referred him to the multiple companies. So let me tell you, this interview preparation kit has four main parts. First is complete interview preparation material. It is a step-by-step material made by me, expert and MNC's interviewers. 99% of the questions asked in interviews are covered in it. Second is two enterprise client projects where code and video recorded sessions are there and you can add this in your resume. Third is lifetime chat support. Here you can ask your doubts anytime. Fourth is referral support. Here we help you to get referred to the top MNCs. And guys, before moving to interview, since Ankit is here, so we can ask for feedback. So Ankit, can you please go ahead?
Yeah, sure. So, like, I was preparing mostly the interviews with this one because mostly you will not get the wholesome things in one place. So,
Mm-hmm.
while preparing, I was able to get Java, like mostly the stream parts, the coding
Mm-hmm.
part, as well as if you say Spring and all. So, you have that level of difficulty, like basic, you need to know this one, intermediate level, you need to know this one, expert level, you need to know this one. So, they have even designed the course in such a way that you need to know, okay, if you know this much basic information, then you can go to intermediate section, then you can go to the expert level. So they
Mm-hmm.
have designed this course in such a way that you will get to know everything, most of the things which is generally asked in the interview, and it will generally help us in the best way it could.
Okay, got it. Thank you. So
Yeah.
moving to our interview. Okay, so can you explain the process and significance of the spring bean life cycle?
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah, please
Spring Bean.
explain in brief. Don't explain in too much
Okay.
details because
Okay.
I need to
Yeah,
ask
yeah, sure.
other many
Yeah, yeah,
questions.
sure, sure.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
sure,
Yeah.
sure. So if we say about the Spring initialization of
Mm-hmm.
beans, so first there is something called, there are first you will, like before the creation of the bean,
Mm-hmm.
there are some property like post construct pre destroy,
Okay.
and before that what it will do is it will call the constructor, and it will see that what are the dependencies are there. So if all the dependencies are there, if it is there at the startup, then it will use that one. Otherwise, it will check what are the dependencies needed. So it will try to fetch those dependencies using auto-wired or any type of getter, setter, or constructor injection. It will try to fetch them. Then there are some functions which are called post construct. And post construct is after the creation of the B.
Mm-hmm.
Once the post construct happen, then you will use that B, and then there is something called pre-destroy. Pre-destroy is just before your complete execution of the B, and you
Mm-hmm.
try to destroy that one. Then you use a pre-destroy, and
Mm-hmm.
that's generally the
Okay.
flow of that
Got it.
life
Got it.
cycle. Yeah.
So Ankit, imagine you are developing a Spring Boot application that handles sensitive customer data, right? How will you securely manage and store this data?
So so generally if we are storing such informations like customers data or
Mm-hmm.
something, so generally we used to maintain, like we have like earlier maintained a vault, like where we use the secrets and to store all these sensitive information, because first of all sensitive information are such which will not be transferred over any network or something. So
Mm-hmm.
what we generally use is something like first we need to decrypt these informations. Like either you will use something called, I think first you will tokenize. What we will generally use is encrypt all those things and store into your and database, and then pass it over a network so that you don't directly pass those type of information
Is there
over a
any
network.
cloud platform?
Uh, yes, there is some cloud platform which is used for, yeah. This one, I think I remember that one, but yeah, uh, uh, I think, but yeah, that is not related to that one.
Okay.
Uh, I have used mainly other things, but yeah, that is not
Mm-hmm.
related to. We have not stored
There is a
such.
vault
Uh,
and there is some other app
huh,
also. We can also
Vault is
leverage GCP
uh,
or other their
yeah, yeah.
secrets.
Vault we have.
Okay. So let's say your Spring Boot application suddenly needs to support twice the user loads it was originally designed for. What
Mhm.
immediate sorry, what immediate steps would you take to handle this increased load?
Yeah. So if there is a suppose increase in loads, so
Mm-hmm.
generally, suppose the number of requests coming are like increased by twice time. We just need to first analyze like whether reading it's a read intensive application or it's a write intensive application, because it depends on multiple factors like where we need to uh, increase the like if suppose on a high level scale, if suppose it's a read intensive system,
Mm-hmm.
and it's related to something where it is reading the data, and writes are still means fine, like the write are not that much expected. So and the database side, it is still the fine, but at the node level, which means the request which are coming. So
Okay.
either we can do the scaling at the horizontal level, the
Mm-hmm.
nodes which we have, the server, because the request server is getting is the same, and either we can use something called, there are some algorithm which are called consistent hashing and all those things algorithm, which are
Mm-hmm.
used for driving that, okay, the requests which are coming here. So
Mm-hmm.
we are trying to redistribute to those things. So those things are generally done there.
Okay. Okay. So, can you tell me what are the different testing it strategies we have nowadays to cover our project?
Yeah, so testing strategies generally either in the this one we have like the mocking Mockito. We have
Mm-hmm.
the testing framework which is generally used in our, like we have used generally the mock classes, because mock classes because since you are talking about microservices architecture, so
Mm-hmm.
definitely you will not need all the objects creation at the runtime, because that's what helpful the microservices, because if suppose this microservice depends on another service, which is for which I need a mock object. So it will just
Mm-hmm.
create a mock object and it will use it. And whatever existing functionality which we have currently in our project, it will just use those functionality and it can return it. So we can test each feature one by one, like just using the mock classes and all. So
Okay.
Mockito, which we have used.
Got it. Got it. So can you tell me step by step how would you integrate non-relational database like MongoDB in our Spring Boot application?
So non-relational database like into Spring Boot data means so if you say there is Spring Boot Starter JPA, which is
Mm-hmm.
generally used for this one, you can say in that one you have those functionality like SQL databases, because on top of that, because there is something called JTA Transaction Manager, there
Mm-hmm.
is something called Java Transaction Manager. And in that JTA Transaction Manager, there are multiple implementation. One is your JDBC implementation class. One is your
Mm-hmm.
SQL, and it is just dependent on the driver which you want to inherit. So suppose if you are using NoSQL driver, because the
Like in
if you
code,
say
what would you do in your code base? In our, let's say we have a code file. So what
hmm,
changes you would do in order to integrate MySQL, sorry, MongoDB?
So MySQL, so there are three things: Spring Data dot SQL dot users, and there are
Mm.
some things Spring Data dot SQL dot URL. So these there are 3 to 4 parameter: URL, username, password, and your driver and
I think
class
first
name.
step to add a dependency,
A
right?
form. Yeah, that dependency we need to add. That
Mm-hmm.
dependency we need to add that
Mm-hmm.
Data Starter. I think there is some dependency which we need to add.
Mm-hmm.
Once we are added that dependency, then after that we need to means in the property file we need to give the URL, like from where
Mm-hmm.
which this one is there, and username and password, what's the username and password of that one, as
Mm-hmm.
well as your class name, as well as your database driver, because the driver is the one which is your actual implementation, which
Mm-hmm.
actually implement that class. So that's mostly you need to do for the NoSQL. I've generally used SQL only, so
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not
understood.
much.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. So can you tell me a scenario, only one scenario where we can implement synchronous messaging in a Spring Boot application?
synchronous messaging
Mm-hmm.
means, okay, synchronous
No,
messaging
no, no.
can.
1 second. Sorry, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I'm asking about asynchronous message, not synchronous.
Okay, okay.
Mm.
Asynchronous messaging. So
Yes, yes.
suppose, which is generally like event-driven architecture.
Mm-hmm.
So asynchronous messaging happen when uh, suppose you are sending notification to a consumer, Like you are a order placer, you place
Mm-hmm.
your order, and you are sending notification to a customer. So the the thing which you are sending to the customer end user, so that
Mm-hmm.
is not expected as soon as you complete your transaction. So the
Mm-hmm.
transaction which is happening is generally consistent and which happens asynchronously. But the thing which you're sending back to the customer that your order
Mm-hmm.
has been placed, that can be done as an asynchronous way. So those things which does not depends on something, like does not needs to happen at the same time as you complete something. So those things are done asynchronous way, because then you have you are just separating it. Like one thread is
Mm-hmm.
doing the transaction, other thread is doing this sending of the message, because it is stateless. You are just trying to maintain it as a stateless something related to.
Okay. Okay, so Ankit, let's say you notice that a Spring Boot application you are working on is significantly slower in production than in the development environment, right?
Okay.
How would you go about fixing the problem? Just tell me
Okay.
quick steps. Uh, Not in detail. Just tell me the quick steps that you would do.
Okay. So we Spring Boot even gives you the actuator. Actuator generally gives you the health endpoints and all. All
Okay.
these endpoints, like to know, okay, they will give you heartbeat checks. Okay, how what the heartbeat,
Mm-hmm.
whether the endpoint is working fine or not. So
Mm-hmm.
all these exposure, I think they have given in the in the actuator. So all this can be used in the respective environments, so
Okay.
that, and even you're something like this is just your this one, then
Mm-hmm.
you can also mechanism something called a heartbeat feature, which will give you like the amount of, like, I've sent a request and in how much time I'm giving getting the request back from the
Mm-hmm.
requester. So those things can be done. So those things generally help us in maintaining that, whether in the dev, how is it working, and in the production, how much time it is taking. So that's where we can improve the, like, we can get to know that, okay, whether it is taking this service, the same service taking time or not. So
Mm-hmm.
all these things can be done.
Let's say you need to migrate an existing application to use a new database schema.
Yeah.
Okay. And without
Uh-huh.
downtime. So how would you plan and execute this migration?
Okay. So if suppose if I want to plan something to a
Mm-hmm.
new database,
Yes,
what
yes,
you
yes.
means?
Correct, correct.
Okay. Okay. So suppose if we want to plan to a, so there is something called uh, blue-green deployment. Generally,
Mm-hmm.
blue-green
Okay.
deployment, something where your blue deployment generally tends to be something like that is your current production level, and your green is something, I think so, that is just the naming, that will be your newer version. So what will happen is, in this type of cases is, you will
Mm-hmm.
first allow all your traffic to go to the blue deployment. Once you change all these things, now what will happen is, once, and then you will test your 10% of your request in your current new deployment. Now what will
Okay.
happen is, suppose the current deployments are working fine, then you will allow all your requests to go to the new deployment. Otherwise, you will just test it with your 10% of the request. So that's why in that way you will reduce your, you will not have it much downtime here,
Mm-hmm.
because you are just allowing the other request to some uh, other deployment which were already there in the
Okay.
production.
Okay. Okay. Can you share your strategy for managing branches in a collaborative project by using Git?
Okay, so in Git, okay, so generally in a Git, so suppose uh, if we are working on a multiple team, generally everyone works with
Mm-hmm.
like 5 to 6 developer, core developer. So if you want to first, like, you should be aware of, like, all the generally the terminologies what we generally use, like how the head points. Like suppose, always take the latest pull from the branch, so that you don't get so much conflicts and all. Because all once you, if you are working on, suppose, an existing code branch and someone has already committed the code, and you don't take the latest pull, and you're just working on the code pull, and use git fetch as much as possible. And there are some other things which are, suppose, while trying to get a pull, and I think good get pull and pull with fetch. I think pull will return you, and I think one more thing, while merging your code, you you cherry pick your, means, I want to say that. uh, there is something called uh, you don't create multiple branches just for a namesake. Just for a namesake, you don't. For a suppose a certain feature is there, and if two developers are working, so just for a namesake, if you are creating just for a simple code
Okay.
changes, if you are creating multiple branches, so before
Mm-hmm.
doing the merging of those things, you need to just check like whether it is it needed, and if it's not needed, like every developer should work
So
on your different
are you
branches.
using any Copilot or something like that?
Yeah, Copilot I'm using.
For what purpose?
Copilot is mostly for the test cases which I am able to write for my own test cases,
JUnit
which
test
I'm
cases.
currently JUnit test cases, as well as some. Suppose I will give the requirement. Suppose some of the
Mm-hmm.
requirements I will give them that okay, I have this specific requirement and I need to come up with certain logic which I need to implement using because so even if you are using microservices and if you are not aware of the complete code base, so if you
Mm-hmm.
want to know that okay how this is used in other code base, then you will first get try to know the information like how it was earlier done and how it can be improved later on.
Okay.
So and
Yep.
yeah,
Moving ahead. Mm, can you explain the build process in the Maven? Like, what are the phases and steps?
okay. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so Maven has I think yeah different phases. I think
Mm-hmm.
one is I think validate. I think Maven there is some phase there are some phases there. One is your validate phase. Validate phase will just see all your dependencies,
Mm-hmm.
whether those dependencies are there means because the version and all those things they will validate, so all this thing will validate. So generally you will
Mm-hmm.
not see validate happening and also. So after that, I think there is the one which is called build.
Mm-hmm.
So I think though there are 3 to 6 major goals, Maven goals. So build is one thing is something which will build your code, like whatever code which you have that you will build, and there is a target folder, and it will push all your code to that target folder. So once you, because that is not, it's not like a central repository, it is just in
Mm-hmm.
your home repository that is getting, uh, means it is just getting uh,
Mm-hmm.
done there. Now, there are, I
Okay,
think,
okay, 1 second. Let's say you are asked to optimize your Maven project. What would you do?
mhm. Okay, so if we want to optimize, so because there are different, like what we can try to do is suppose this validate functionality and all this functionality which are there, like build and all which will happen, deploy and all these things will always happen. So which will always happen because these are the major operations. Now
Mm-hmm.
there are 3 more operations like test. Test is also there, then validate. So once this validate operation, which is happening every time on the starting, like because it will, if you do even when Maven build also now, it will start from the first operation and it will go till validate. So it will start
So
from the
how would you
valid.
do this? What configuration level changes you would do? Like, what's a hands-on?
Yeah, yeah. So if we want to means if we don't do in the POM file itself, in the POM in the build file in the in the Maven POM file itself, what you can change the configuration itself. That because there also there is a config changes that you need to do. That okay, or you can change even in the I think the
Like, I'm
environment
asking
specific is.
about what particular configurable changes we need to do. Like, what line would you add? Do you know?
Uh, I I don't remember exactly
Okay,
what
okay.
line I could
Do you
changes
know
there.
about Maven parallel builds?
Maven parallel builds,
Uh-huh.
I know about them, but I'm not
We can
much
also optimize our
fond.
Maven build by using Maven parallel builds, right?
Oh, okay. So
And do
whether
you
it will
know
do
about
some parallel operation.
parallel test cases execution? Let's say we have 100
Yeah,
test cases, we can run them parallelly.
yeah. Parallel test execution, I'm aware of parallel test execution.
Okay.
Yeah, they can do parallel.
Mm, got it. Okay, so let's say, sorry, what happens when two different Java objects have the same hash code, and how would you handle such scenario?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if two different hash means Java object have the same hash code means there is a collision. There is
Mm-hmm.
definitely a collision
Okay.
because if hash code is same, so it will
Mm-hmm.
go to the same bucket. So bucket, and if it goes into the same bucket, it will first check. It will first check whether dot equals what it will give. If dot equals give you true, true it means that true means the keys are also same. If keys are same, it will override the value. But if keys equals return false,
Mm-hmm.
then it will create a linked list, node of linked list, and it will add that the other means other object into a new node. So it will create a new linked list.
Okay. So, what changes were made in Java 8 regarding collision handling?
So after so the collision changes which was done there was, suppose the linked list size when it goes to the 8, when it
Mm-hmm.
goes to the size of 8, then it will create a, earlier it was just extending because it was just, oh, means it was just getting more entries. But in Java 8, they have converted to red black tree. They have just converted that after 8 you don't need to further increase the linked list. Either after that we'll just convert that linked list to binary search, I mean red black tree. So that, because even that is taking time, because then hash map complexity was coming as O of
Mm-hmm.
n only, because once you increase the size, then it will be O of n only.
Okay. So, when would you use comparable and when would you use comparator?
So comparable is used generally for natural sorting,
Mm-hmm.
natural order sorting. So if you want to sort like integer, and it is just on integer and not on anything. In If you take a string also, it is doing alphanumeric way. But if you
Okay.
say comparator will sort also on multiple fields. Like comparator,
Mm-hmm.
you will pass two objects. Comparator takes because they both are functional interface. So comparator takes compare method, which takes two argument, object one, object two, and
Mm-hmm.
comparable takes only one argument, which is compared, which is method compare to, and it takes one argument. So
Okay.
compare to will take one argument, and it is done on the natural ordering sorting. And comparable can take multiple ways to sort. Like if you want to sort by employee, you can do by employee. If you want
Mm-hmm.
to do employee by another field also, you can give them. So that's why you are able to do, and you can define your own custom sorting
Mm-hmm.
here in comparator, but in
Okay.
comparable you will not be able to.
So, how does the JVM handle memory leaks?
So JVM handle memory leaks, so that because definitely there is suppose uh, there are, I think, mostly the garbage collection which
Mm-hmm.
happens, because what is JVM does is, suppose you have a stack, you have a heap, then you have some memory segment. I think I know what hidden space and meta space.
No,
So
that is,
these
I think, about garbage character and something like that.
garbage collector where meta space and all. But yeah, what I think there is memory leaks. So memory leaks happens once, suppose
Like, do you know the
you
tools Visual VM, Eclipse, Mat, and Profilers
JProfiler I have used.
that
JProfiler I've
helps
used. So
identify leaks by
uh,
analyzing heap
yeah,
dumps?
heap dumps. Yeah, JProfiler I've used. So heap dumps, they will try to fetch, and it will analyze and show you that, okay,
Hmm.
this way you can.
Okay. Um, and do you know the process of generational garbage collection in JVM? Young generation, old
Generational.
generation.
Yeah, old generation and new generation. Yeah, so
Hmm.
old generation. So suppose once, because they have a threshold, like, okay, the previous version will come into the old generation. Now,
Hmm.
when the next version of a site it runs, because it will runs for some like duration. Like once it runs, now the next time when it runs, now the previous one which were there in the old generation, it will come to the newer one. Means
Hmm.
there are two versions, V1, V2 in that one also. So the older one will come to the V1, and there is also something called a threshold. Like suppose
Hmm.
if your this one appears for 5 times and they have not yet been removed from there, they will go to some other segment where they will where it will not run for a much duration. I think that is like old generation Eden space. I think in Eden space there are V1 and V2, and there is one more space where it will kept for a long duration of time, because they say that okay, this memory has been used for quite long time and it is
Mm-hmm.
not yet have been garbage collected. So let's don't remove it from the heap dump. Means let's not remove from the memory and use it and make it as some other place, so that we will not remove it from the
Mm-hmm.
memory as of now. So all these
Okay,
things are.
got it. Do you know about Java serialization?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so my question is how can we secure our Java application against serialization attacks?
Uh, I think there is some method called resolve object. There is something I
Okay.
know about some resolve object,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because I've seen that it can be fetched through. There are some. Yeah.
And
I think
I'm
using.
not sure about resolve objects, but what I know is it can be resolved by editing serialized objects, avoiding Java native serialization, or safe libraries. Okay.
Uh, yeah, I think there is some method also which I think it
Oh.
might be some other thing also, but yeah, there was some method also which can be used here. Because I think there are two things. I think
Mm-hmm.
serialization, and one more thing is I think which we use to access the private method also.
Mm-hmm.
I think the
Yeah, maybe I
reflection.
have.
Sorry,
I don't know,
reflection. I
but
think
I'll
reflection.
explore.
Yeah, I think it was reflection. In reflection also, we can use these things. So I think both reflection and serialization. Uh, uh, if suppose singleton can be broken through
Mm-hmm.
this one reflection.
Okay.
Singleton, any type of singleton can be broken
Mm-hmm.
through
Okay.
serial
Okay. Got
this
it.
reflection.
So have you faced runtime exception?
Yes, means
Can you
runtime
tell me the
exception. Yeah.
any case where you have faced runtime exception?
So runtime exception like uh, yeah, generally these type of like uh, suppose out of memory due to stack exception. Out of memory, I've faced like
Mm-hmm.
suppose infinite recursion, it happens or something due to those one. Or suppose if you are trying to access outside the bound
Mm-hmm.
something, then you will get those
Okay. Okay.
runtime exception.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So, okay. Yes, Ankit, it's done from my
Uh,
end, and it was a
yeah,
nice interview.